Good afternoon, colleagues. This is a beautiful Sunday afternoon, and I would like to welcome you to my channel as I get to share with you inspirations, mainly based on my personal experiences, the things that I've been able to go through, and some which I've stayed clear with, others which I've also been able to overcome, but with a view that in sharing together, we can be able to learn together and be able to inspire each other so that we can always become a better version of ourselves. Again, if you do not like this channel, you can subscribe, kindly like and press that subscribe button so that you can be able to learn together even as I upload new videos that then can be able to shed more light in our lives and be able to inspire us in our journey of being and becoming. So today I want to talk about a crisis in life. And we do face many crises in life as human beings. It's part of our life. We live with crises in different forms. Sometimes crisis because of our finances. Sometimes it could be a loss of job, a business opportunity, or just livelihood. It could be sickness, or sometimes we've lost people who are closest to us. Whatever crisis that we go through often has a downward negative effect that impacts badly on our lives. And in many times during these moments, we don't know who or where to turn to. We become paralyzed. Sometimes it becomes very difficult for us to even think of our way out of it. In fact, this is often the case with the majority of us. That when crisis strike, we enter into a fear, anxiety paralysis. Our minds become clogged with negativity. Our bodies become dysfunctional. We no longer are able to do the things that we have done before. We become less productive, less innovative, leave alone being creative in any way. Majority of us, when crisis hits, we enter the irrational mode where we begin to dine and wine in our own fears and anxiety. It feeds further into that crisis. And so we ask ourselves, how do we get out of it when it happens? Is there a clear formula, a clear path that one could take? And my simple and long answer to that is that for every crisis, the formula, the pathway is always within us. We may need a little boost here, a little challenge there, but oftentimes the solutions to this crisis are innate. They're within us. We just need to acknowledge and reach into that bosom where they belong. The question is, how do we get there? Dear friends, oftentimes when you're faced with crisis, our mind stops. We stop to think. Or when we think, We think without reason. We see, we don't perceive. And when we perceive, that is the only time we get the actual, the truest positive transformation from that abyss, that dungeon of hopelessness. For that reason, it is therefore very important that whatever crisis we are going through, that we are able to take a step back, take a moment back, and quieten our mind. It's only when we are able to quieten our mind that we can have a positive focus that can help us to begin to reason and get our way out of this challenge. When we quieten our mind and begin to focus, we unleash the flow of opportunities, of many alternatives that can be there to the problems that we are experiencing. But oftentimes these opportunities, these alternatives come in random forms. They come in their rawest and crudest of ways. They are unsynthesized. They come as nature unleashes them to us. It is only the quiet mind, the focused mind, that can begin to explore these alternatives and to begin to look at each opportunity that presents itself by its own merit. We begin to look at the alternatives and weigh each by each based on their pros and cons. For each alternative that comes, I must think, what consequences does it also bear? That is the work of a quiet, focused, rational mind. Otherwise, we will begin to treat every opportunity, every option that presents itself as a solution. And we will try each and every one of them and fail miserably on each before we can begin to learn. In fact, many of times we don't even learn. It becomes the cycle that takes us back every other time to the same crisis where we began. We must therefore have the mental stamina to be able to acknowledge and appreciate every opportunity and alternatives that are presented to us and weigh each by its own merit. Look at the pros and cons of each and then settle on that one alternative, that one opportunity that we think will give us the best reward, that will give us the best outcome, that will be most satisfying to us, and not just one which is easier and perhaps not very difficult to do. We must start from that which must be the one that gives us the best reward, the best outcome for the problems that we seek to address. Oftentimes, this calls us to go beyond our comfort zone. Because in choosing alternatives, must be able to take certain risks. Sometimes these risks might mean cutting down on how we've lived our lives before. It may mean scaling down on our luxuries. If you're driving a luxurious car, maybe downgrading into a more functional car. If you're living in a 3-bedroom house, maybe going down to 2. If I was enjoying weekend outs with my family, maybe scaling it down to maybe 1 weekend in a month. It must have the ability to challenge us to take certain risks and make certain sacrifices. It is only then that our choice of the best alternative options begin to make a difference in our lives. As I have said, risk taking is an important ingredient in managing our discomforts, in managing our crisis. We must be willing to put out the net into the deep. We must be willing to take that plunge into the deep. And as we dive deep into the deep, into the abyss of the unknown. It is there that we must start our search for the oyster. It is there that we will actually find our treasure. Put into the deep. Risk going beyond the comfort. Learn to quieten the mind and decide to act. Decide to act. Until our next video, thank you very much for watching, and I will be sharing with you again other inspirational reflections of my life. I'm hoping that they will be able to touch you in a positive way, one way or another. Thank you very much for watching, and keep subscribing to the channel.